I was not paid by any company or government to make this video. I do not condone, support, or promote the regime of North Korea in any manner whatsoever. Please do your own research. I am not a journalist.
North Korea.
North Korea.
North Korea.
The North Koreans.
North Korea.
The propaganda.
Kim Jong-un,
millions to starve,
his regime, prison camps,
human rights. And Kim Jong-un threatened to destroy the United States.
Fire and fury.
Ballistic missile.
Rocket Man.
The ballistic missile.
The worst mistake of my life.
Otto Warmbier, Dennis Rodman.
North Korea threatens the entire world.
It was a moment for the history books.
I am not a journalist. I am just some kid with a consumer camera who was lucky enough to gain access into the most isolated and controlled country in the world. This video series is a product of that. So after 3 days, 2 flights, a 12-hour layover in Moscow, Russia, a 3-hour sleep on a concrete floor, I finally arrived in Beijing. So here I am in Beijing. Got here yesterday at like 3 in the morning or something crazy. Still pretty jet lagged. As you can see, I'm going to North Korea. Pretty nervous. Had a briefing last night with the tour company I'm going with. I'm doing a budget tour, so I'm not quite sure what that means in North Korea standards, but I guess we're gonna find out over this video series. Lots and lots of rules to take in. I'm not sure how I'm gonna do this video series. I'll do a bit of kind of normal vlogging, but then I'll probably do quite a bit of voiceovers as well, because I'm not quite sure what I'm going to feel comfortable or being allowed to say. Without any more talking, I've got to go get a taxi, and then we've got to go to the airport and fly to North Korea on what is called the world's only one-star airline. So I'm not quite sure what that means either, but I'm sure we're gonna find out, so I'm nervous. Beijing airport, checked in, got boarding pass and everything, flying in like half an hour or so, boarding, and then heading away to Pyongyang, the capital of North Korea. The nerves are kicking in a bit, but anyway, let's do this. Hello. Thank you. Arriving in North Korea. Alright guys, so this is the part where we arrived in North Korea and we met our tour guides. We had 2 Korean tour guides the whole trip and 1 guy from England who was working with the tour company. All foreigners have to be accompanied with a tour guide at all times, so you're basically in sight of these tour guides unless you are in your hotel room. Under no circumstances are you allowed to walk alone basically anywhere apart from the hotel, so it's extremely strict, but the tour guides were very friendly. The flight was was interesting. I would definitely rate it higher than 1 star. The burger they served, let's just say it wasn't the most appetizing thing I've ever seen, but apart from that, you know, good service. Anyway, so from here we drove in, and the first thing I noticed about driving on the roads was just how rough they were. This kind of came as a bit of a problem for filming, really bumpy. When it came to filming, it was quite strict on what we were and what we weren't allowed to film also. We weren't allowed to film any military, that's vehicles, soldiers, bases, anything like that. We weren't allowed to film construction sites. If we were to take photos of any pictures of the leaders, then they had to be fully in frame. You weren't allowed to take a part of a statue, you had to take the full statue. Otherwise, it was seen as an insult to the leaders. You have to show extreme respect to the leaders when you're in North Korea. If you can't show respect to the leaders when you are there, then you will be in some serious trouble. We drove past the 105-story, 330-meter tall Ragyong Hotel. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. So basically the whole of the inside is a construction zone and the whole of the outside's complete. And you'll see this later in the video lit up at night, and it's pretty incredible. From here we arrived at the train station to pick up some other people that were on the tour who were arriving by train. Alright guys, so we're inside Pyongyang. Arrived at the train station to pick up some other people that are on the tour, but we're like fully immersed in the public right now. It's interesting. The train's just arrived. I'm getting the train back to China, but some of the group got the train here from China. It's like a 26-hour ride, so I'm really looking forward to that. But first impressions of this place is, it's kind of, it feels like we're invisible. People don't really look at us, so I don't know what that's about. Interesting. Still quite tired and things, so I'm trying to get my thoughts straight, but fill you in as best as I can. And I think after this we're going to the main square and then getting dinner, so I'll document that. On our way to the Kim Il-sung Square, we passed the Yanggakdo Hotel, which is the infamous hotel where Otto Warmbier was caught on video taking down a political poster and sentenced to 15 years hard labor.
The last time Otto Warmbier's family saw him, more than a year ago, he was healthy but distraught, pleading for leniency in a North Korean court. Kim Jong-un's regime sentenced Warmbier to 15 years of hard labor for allegedly taking down a propaganda banner in Pyongyang.
Just returned from North Korea with severe brain damage, has now died.
Alright guys, so we've come right into the city center. This is basically like the middle of North Korea, as central as it gets. This is Kim Il-sung Square in the background. You've probably seen this on photos. I'll go and get some nice shots of it in a second. But then we've got this big river going through here. Not sure how good the audio is because I didn't bring my microphone. And then we've got a big tower in the background there that hopefully tomorrow we're going to go up that tower. So I'll show you a few shots of around this area. And then I think we're going to go and get food maybe. I don't know. But yeah, interesting. Nothing like I expected. So all these white dots that you see all over the ground here, this is where people stand for the parades. So you've probably seen the famous North Korean parades and how everyone's perfectly lined up. Well, these lines go all the way around here, even across the road. And they only have these parades like maximum 2 times a year, from what I've been told. Sometimes they don't even have them, so a lot of work goes into a short time. From the square, we started to walk towards a bookshop. We came across these supermarkets that were just fully stocked, but nobody was in them. I'm not quite sure what was going on here. Maybe they'd gone home for the day, but I'm not quite sure. These traffic wardens are fascinating. If they see a government car, they will salute it. And you can tell if it's a government car by their number plates. All their number plates are different colors depending if the car belongs to a company, the military, or a government official. It's very rare for people to own their own cars in North Korea. When we arrived in the bookstore, we were greeted with more copies of the Pyongyang Times, which is an English newspaper talking about North Korean news. With the newspapers or any kind of magazine or pictures with any of the leaders on them, you are not allowed to fold the newspaper through the leader's picture. So you have to be extremely careful when handling these papers because it's highly illegal to deface or crease. You're not actually allowed to throw them away. You just have to leave them on a table somewhere and then let people who are qualified to destroy the papers destroy them. We were also able to buy anti-US propaganda posters. From the bookstore, we took a drive through Pyongyang at night. You can see the unfinished hotel here again, fully lit up on the outside. Incredible light show. This is a huge building. It's just unbelievable. Strange with the lighting, considering there's not much electricity to go around. And then we arrived to a restaurant for dinner. The dinner was absolutely delicious. Basically got something for anyone. If you like meat, if you're a vegetarian, if you're a vegan, basically anything that you want, you can get it here. Whatever preferences you have, they'll organize everything for you, and the food was so delicious. Kimchi, potatoes, different kinds of meat if you're into that, noodles, rice. From dinner, then we drove to our hotel. Alright guys, so made it to the hotel after that delicious dinner there. Absolutely exhausted right now, filming in the toilet because the lighting in the bedroom isn't really sufficient. I think there's a bit of a power issue, but apart from that, first impressions really good. Looking forward to what tomorrow brings, going exploring around the city, doing heaps of different things, but I'm so ready to get some good sleep so I can actually take in everything I'm seeing properly. And I hope the audio is picking up okay on this because I'm not using a microphone, just these little muffs here. So this hotel is huge, there's 30 floors. I'll show you the view from this hotel before I finish the video. So this is the bedroom I'm sharing with the French guy. He's just downstairs, but so have a look out here. So you can see the leaders lit up there. That's the main road. And then there's just skyscrapers everywhere. Make sure you stay tuned for the next video. Thank you so much for watching. In case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.